I thought I hit the jackpot when I had been offered a job with a fortune. I thought I could finally have all the caps, make everything I'd done before as a bounty hunter worth it. Turns out it was more likely either a trap conjured by some raving lunatic cult in order to get me in the right place at the right time to ambush me, or it was a job that would require a smart army to accomplish. But with me being me, I may have let my love of caps get the better of me, and by taking on this mission, I'd end up being shot, stabbed, chased halfway across the desert, and on top of it, had some malicious little robot that gosses one within my insides to the point I could barely move without puking. And what are you doing again right now? My mind asks as I sat in the depths of another pre-war facility, alarms ringing as I looked at the stupid bug that had gotten me into this mess. Yeah, well, at least as of 5 seconds ago, I have a lot more ponies wanting to kill me. Now, how about you work with me to get the both of us out of here alive before you really consider killing me? Vertigo suggested. Another sound heralding the imminent arrival of the building security rushed my decision making as I reluctantly nodded. Well, can we just shut them all down again like last time? I asked, but he shook his head. Nope. Didn't you hear? All of the info has gone in the purge. Long-term relaxes is going to be on the lockdown now, he elaborated. By the goddesses, I was going to roast his flank so hard the moment we got out of here. Seconds later, I put my helmet back on and the pair of us swiftly made our way back into the office. Vertigo instantly went over to the broken window, peering out into the large chamber beyond. I meanwhile took one look at the way we'd come in and concluded that the collapsed corridor wasn't going to be how we were getting out. So, what's your plan? I called over to Vertigo. This room sits between this building and the MAS hub. Below the rail lines and the Sabletech building, there should be another elevator up to the back of the MAS building. Then we can sneak out down to the pipelines and run into the rail yard. Then you can get your friends and we all get out of here. Simple. I scoffed and rolled my eyes. Sure, it was easy for him to say. With my luck, we'll have a horde of those heavy-duty robots racing towards us with intentions to exterminate us with extreme prejudice. Still, it was at least some kind of course of action. It's far better than just waiting here for those damn robot security to kill us on sight. Not only that, but it wouldn't make sure we end up right where Cherry and the others would be. Yet he missed out on one major detail. What about the slaves? I asked. He froze mid-stride. Slaves? By the goddesses, this had just become a million times worse. Yes, the whole reason I left Cherry and the others down there. Do you really think I'd have come up here alone otherwise? I yelled, really hoping he would somehow sense the true goal behind that question. It would have been yes, either way. No way I risked the life of the pony I really cared about for this little side expedition. Nor would I have Sky up here with Clep and Orc still injured. I just hoped the pony I really cared about would still be okay when I got back to her. Well, I simply told them to come up the service elevator that leads right to the rail line beside the construction yard. He tapped the tip of his muzzle. God says, do you think if he'd been stalking me as much as he claimed, he'd know what to do? Pony feathers, you've really gonna make this interesting, he explained, eyes and ears darting about as he evaluated his plan. I've made it interesting. You're the one who snuck up on me and railed me to your little quest. How do you even know that's the right way? I asked. Now I could swear he was looking at me like I was stupid or something under that helmet. Don't tell me you've never infiltrated a building like this without taking even a single look at how it's laid out, he asked, and I grumbled to myself. Funny animal smartass. Now you're getting us the fuck out of here, and you're not going to conveniently forget about my friends, I retorted. And he quickly stepped out onto the catwalk just beyond the broken window. More suspended catwalks. Great. I really do adore those. My mind groaned as I followed him. The moment I stepped hoof on the middle, it swayed uneasily, and the urge to step back and find another way out of this death trap was becoming very strong. Then there was a rattling sound behind me and I glanced back. What's wrong? You afraid of heights? Vertigo asked. Gosses, I was going to rip that helmet off and blast a smug face I knew was under there, you two tartars. That was when the office exploded. Attention, attention, blurted yet another security boss that blew a hole through the rubble covering the door and tried to force its way through. The explosion threw me forward into the rail on the other side of the catwalk. The old thing swayed away from the window before swinging back towards the broken glass. I wrapped my forehooves around the railing as my rear hooves kicked out and my stomach lurched. Then the sentry bot, trying to crawl its way over the rubble piles, aimed his Gatling gun right at me where its positioned its missile launcher to blast away more of the rubble to make a path for itself. Why can't you just stay shut down, you stupid hunks of scrap metal? I yelled as the rocking continued. Not a chance of that now. So much for hoping they were all shot to bits by each other. Vertigo called as I felt like I was going to throw up. In the bird mess that was my vision, I saw him look back at me. The piece of catwalk he occupied disconnected from my own are relatively still in comparison. Two of the cables suspending my half of the catwalk snapped with a loud twang. The whole thing swiftly became vertical. Gus, just get me the fuck off this damn thing! I cried, holding on for dear life and closing my eyes as the bright beams of the robot's weapon nearly severed the second set of cables. Sure, don't just shoot at me directly, I thought to myself, mere thoughts absolutely dripping with loathing and sarcasm. Take a long and terrifying road to kill me, I mentally cursed. That was when I detected a bright flash beyond the darkness of my sealed eyelids and swiftly heard Vertigo calling out from below. Let go, I'll catch you. Alright, like I'm going to believe him after all this shit. Then when the cables on the far side of the catwalk snapped and the whole thing tilted a little further downwards, spinning while hanging diagonally. Well, you're dead either way, even if he's lying, mine noted. Gosh, I really didn't want to give the buck who had gotten me into this dangerous situation in the first place the satisfaction of letting me fall to my death. Then what choice is there? Mine queried, and then I really hate the wasteland for creating the situation for which I was out here in the first place. Without a word, I closed my eyes as tightly as I could, as the catwalk gave him one last shower before I reluctantly let my hooves slip away from the railing. Damn, this was not how I'd expected to go out. And again, nothing I'd done recently had gone as I had expected. I screamed. Shortly felt the tingling aura of telekinesis envelop my plummeting body, and my weight was reduced to that of a feather as my fall was abruptly slowed. I cracked open one eye and I looked down from where I was suspended in the air by Vertigo's purple aura. See? Not bad at all, he mused, then cocked his head and seemed to look past me. I was about to retort with something equally witty when he added, on second thought, let's leave the talking until we aren't in danger. There was another whip-like crack and the sentry bot's fire severed the last cable and snapped back. Right. Fight for survival now. Talking can definitely wait until later. Vertigo bolted to one side, levitating me with him as the massive metal came crashing down, smashing upon a burst of metallic shrapnel. A great deal of the equipment that littered the experimental demonstration suffered various degrees of damage. Instinctively, I kicked my legs to run to, only for me to realize again that I was still suspended by Vertigo's magic. Damn it, let me down! My hooves have been off the ground long enough today, I exclaimed, my legs still squirming as Vertigo finally levitated me to the floor. You were up there for 5 seconds, he said, but I just shook my head. Like I said, I've been off the ground for far long enough. The flashes of another explosion and the falling light of beam fire swiftly canceled the argument as the sentry bot broke into the office and moved over to the window to fire down at us. Come on, there should be an exit on the other side, Vertigo stated, running around the piles of scientific equipment. Great, let's just hope this one isn't locked, I added, as I carefully backed up to where he'd ran, firing back at the attacking robot. His lack of a response beyond that of a faint grumble wasn't very encouraging. But the wasteland didn't stop there. No, it had to go and make my day so much more exciting. Below the office window from which the sentry bot fired, a large steel door slid open. bright flashing of alarms either side rung to life, and from the grinding of tracks carried out 2 more sentry bots, immediately taking aim. Ah, come on! I screamed, ducking behind the cover of the equipment as the 2 new robots blasted my cover with beam fire. Hey, give me a second. I have to manually try and override the door controls. Vertigo called from where he pulled a panel off of the wall beside our exit. Good, because I and my miracle pitbuck are kind of busy at the moment. The sound of a missile followed my words as the sentry bomb on the upper floor blasted the spire in the middle of the chamber, and I was thrown aside by the concussive force of the fiery blast. The tower went up in a flash of fire and orange sparks. The old shield around it activating for a long second before flickering out. My whole body felt as if it had been put through a blender, and my guts seemed like it had been through the same thing several times more as I rolled across the tile floor. Getting back my hooves, I saw that most of the central shaft had fallen down between me and the robots. It also split in the middle. Sparks of the odd orange magic arched between the 2 halves and beyond it. I could see one of the sentry bots moving in to execute a pincer maneuver. I looked between the robot and Vertigo as he got back to his hooves and resumed work on the door. Great, time for me to save his sorry flank for a change. Hey you! I shouted, sending up and moving towards the sentry bot. I paused. It swiftly shifted to point one of his very powerful weapons at me. I looked right into the ridden lights beneath the grill of its head and fired. Plasma did nothing, caused its black armor to glow red hot as it opened fire and advanced towards me. I dodged toward the closest piece of cover as I could find as the bright beams lanced through the air. All the while begging the gods to send none of the bright beams straight across my hind, then instantly turned me to ash. Ha! Is that it? First a bucket of bullets, your grandma was a toaster! I called, unable to forgo allowing a little bit of my hatred towards all robots to surface, even as parts of my flesh burned from the heat of the lasers scorching across it. The same could not be said for the sentry pod as it kept firing and raised its missile launcher. Yet the explosive never fired. I picked up to see the robot advance mindlessly right into the crackling field of magical electricity between the 2 halves of the fallen spire. Attention, attention. Zzz, security compromise. Zzz, system error. I expected the robot's buzzing stammer to be ended with a loud bang. Instead, the robot lightning lashed out over like a living spiderweb, reaching out and underneath the plates of armor like flickering tendrils. Then the whole thing seemed to glow from the inside before its plates began to rupture and bulge. Okay, not what I was expecting. I noticed as the inside of the robot almost began to bleed a silver metal that glowed the same vibrant orange. Aha! I got it! Vertigo called out before there was a small beep and the door slid open next to him. I looked away from the sentry bot as more of the silver metal swelled up from within it, ripping apart its arms and weapons before leaking onto the floor. Then the second of the ground level robots busted their way through the wreckage to my right along both it and the one in the office above an Eli's sight. Great, that's a first, called the Vertigo, galloping as fast as my aching limbs would allow right towards the door. The robots continued to fire, nipping my tail with singeing bolts of magical energy. Months later, I reached the door, following Vertigo into the dark corridor beyond. Now close it! I yelled. Close it? I hadn't exactly planned that far ahead, he responded. I was quite frankly done with these stupid robots. Fine, I'll do it! I snapped, pointing my plasma rifle at the door control switch. There was no argument from my companion. In fact, he even seemed impressed. That was when the whole room was shaken by a new explosion, however. Robocon and the lightning gave on last metal groan before it blasted apart in a flare of orange lit and a molten wave of silver metal. The robot on the ground was smothered in a metallic liquid, and I had no time to see the same thing happen to the sentry bot on the upper floor as I blasted the door's lock, and much to my relief, it slid closed before any of the strange substance hit us. Great, finally a break. I appreciated the reprieve for however long it lasted as the sound of the hard substance hitting on the other side of the door rang out, causing it to hiss and bulge outward as extreme heat irradiated from the other side, before the place finally went silent. So, where to now, Mr. Expert Infiltrator? I asked, turning to Vertigo. I really had very little more patience or time for this. Jerry probably thought I was dead and had left with the others by now anyway. Still, there was no way I was just going to leave her, no matter where we both ended up. This way. Some labs and then an elevator up to the rear of the MAS hub if I'm right. Just watch out for any more security, Vertigo said as he trotted down the corridor. And what had he been right about before now? I thought to myself as I trotted along after him. Unfortunately, Vertigo was at least right about the sentry. Yeah, we dispatched the turns and ponytrons with far more ease than the heavily armored sentry bots. The farther we went, the darker it got. Gloom imparted by the light of my pip-buck. Green glow did nothing but sell the eerie sights I saw through the cracked windows of the laboratories as we passed by, however. I could see the dark shadows of operating tables sitting beneath its spindly metal limbs, tipped with drills, saws, and all manner of sharp needles. Half-full tanks of oil liquid lingered like ghosts in the corners of the room. Once I weren't sure the glowing, serving as an unwelcome reminder of the mere I'd seen below the Destiny building. Goddesses, I really hoped I hadn't been lucky, I thought, noticing that some of the vats even had shivering organics remains in them. I dared not to think about how I'd seen Lucky Star in the memory as I passed each and one of them before the corridor finally ended and we both emerged into a dimly lit room. There's another operating room. Great, so much for my break. The walls were all clean white, as were the panels covering the bases of several shattered glass tubes and vats positioned in a neat square around the central operating table. Looking to each, I was glad to find them all completely empty. In fact, besides the medical equipment, the majority of the room was empty. Across the chamber from us was a large shattered mirror. As we moved over, it became clear that only one on the side of the thing had been transparent. Must have been some viewing screen. Huh. Figures they don't want whatever poor souls on there to see the ponies torturing them. Cowards, Vertigo noted, lying to the operating table as he levitated up one of the broken shards of the screen. And you know what they did to ponies here, do you? I asked. I was both thankful and a little disappointed when he shook his head. Great. Now, can we just get out of here already? I thought to myself and voiced my sentiment to my current partner. Vertigo didn't seem to disagree as he tossed the broken glass aside and stepped into the room that it had once hidden from view. Dull walls in here were stark contrast to the clinical lab. All that I could see was a control desk with a microphone. Near the door were several cabinets built into the wall. I found myself drawn to the desk just a moment, unable to think about what horrible orders may have been issued from it. What had the ponies here done in their sick experiments? An image of Lucky Star and the whole host of horrible things I'd seen under the Destiny Tower flashed through my mind again, and I turned away. Then I found myself looking at one of the lockers as Vertigo was set to work on rewiring the door. Damn, this better be the last one of these stupid things, he groaned. I was about to agree when something caught my attention. Through a rusted crack in the cabinet, I saw a faint glow. I glanced at Vertigo, then back at the glow. Curiously, finally, got the better of me and my horn flared as I magically pried the thing open only for a whole pile of memory orbs to come floating out. Startled, I jumped back and raised my rifle as the orbs rolled out and pulled around my hooves, only to realize how twitchy I was getting. Damn, are these places really starting to get to you? Haha, very funny, brain. I cursed as I lowered my rifle, then levitated up one of the orbs, careful not to let it touch my horn. Seriously? Vertigo asked, watching me slip a few of them into my bag. What? Knowing your enemy, right? I retorted. A small part of my mind thought exactly that. Yet another only wondered if they were all really just to mess with me. As well if I found them interesting. The mystery had already caused me enough trouble, and some of these things could contain valuable answers. Vertigo, on the other hand, swiftly became distracted elsewhere as the door beeped. Hey, that was easy. Wait. I slid up, and before he knew it, a metal hoof smashed into his face with a hard clunk. Someone sparked and crackled on the force of the deactivated power hoof strike, yet seemed to absorb most of the impact. I had a feeling if it had been turned on, he'd be dead. But I had a little time to think as I lifted my weapon to the door, only for it to be kicked down from my grip and back out into the operating room by the power hoof-wearing pony. The barrel bent with a flash of green sparks and plasma as it clattered the floor, leaving me with only my magic as 3 ponies stormed in through the door. 2 of them were heavily armed stallions in dark transcendent armor. The third was a small, gray earth pony mare with only half my size and clad with a combination of brass and barding and black combat gear. It was her that I'd seen before, only this time she had a crackling power hoof on each of her forelimbs.
Well, well, what do we have here? 2 lost little birds,
Chief growled. She banged her hoofs on the floor, sparks flying from the power hoofs as they activated the tails buckled beneath her. Then her eyes narrowed further as she focused on me.
So, you're the one who gave us the slip. Such a pretty little thing. Don't really look like much else. Hardly worth Carnage's effort,
she mocked, waving a hoof at me.
I'd snap you like a twig if my carry didn't want you alive.
Her what? My face contorted before I snapped back. Funny. I recall you being the one running away when I blasted your little friends. She gritted her sharpened teeth.
I'm sure it's hilarious. But how about we see how smug you are when I smash your face in, pretty girl?
She declared, as her 2 companions lunged at Frigo and she whirled to strike me with her rear hooves. Well, at least she's not coming at you with power hooves, I recognized. Then again, that probably meant she didn't want to simply kill me. Or at least not yet. Gosses, are all the bad guys gonna do their villainous monologuing? Or is there anyone who would rather leave me dead without making me sit through their bad guy spying? She went to the side as her strike struck nothing but the air, and then wrapped her rear hooves on my magic and pulled, dragging her back through the window.
Fuck you! You're still a fuck hornhead!
She yelled, kicking out before managing to grip her power hose onto the window frame. As good as I thought it might be, my telekinetic strength was nothing compared to the grabbing for those hooves, and I was forced to release her.
Now just stop with the tricks and take it, you troublesome little bitch,
she yelled. Time for mockery clearly over. You're for the last one to call any pony little pipsqueak, Vertigo called as he tussled with the 2 other ponies. I was surprised at how fast he'd recovered from one of those hooves to the face. Either she had really been trying to kill him, or his armor was really something. Regardless, it was evident that whatever order she may have had to keep us alive didn't really matter anymore. The little mare's rage spiked. Now it really looked like she was trying to smash my face in.
What did you say, you pathetic bug? I'll squash your pretty mare friend here,
she declared, smashing her power hooves hard into the floor, sending enamel shards flying along with sparks of electricity. Okay, definitely trying to pummel me into a bloody pulp now. Small mare coiled back and sprang at me with the crackling weapons outstretched. Without my rifle, unlowered my horn, concentrated, with a spark of cyan flame sent the window frame on fire.
What the f? You can go shove that horn up your ass,
she cried as she hit the flames and kicked back, cursing a whole slew of profanities and patting out her singed fur.
Hey, you 2 stop around with him and get this little bitch,
she called from over the blaze, and before I knew it, there was a clattering of gunfire against my side. Most of the bullets bounced off of the scales or left only bruises as they hit the harder parts of my barding. Yet several pierced the flesh in my flank. Bruises, beam weapon burns, now bullet holes? Gosh, as I was glad I was so numb on Mad X, no matter how much the painkiller was beginning to wear off. Still, the gunshot sent me sprawling to the floor as one of the black armor ponies levitated an automatic rifle to my head as he stood over me. If I see so much of a spark from that horn of yours, don't care how much trouble I'll be in with the boss. It won't be causing us any more trouble. He grumbled from under his helmet. Well, if that was the case, then okay. I kicked up with my rear hooves and struck him right where it hurt. It seemed I was not the only one who forgot to put armor there as the stallion folded in on himself, grasping at his crotch with his forehoofs. The moment his weapon was off of me, my horn sparked again, and this time blasted his helmet with a wave of cyan flame. In the end, it was safe to say that the area between his legs was the last of his problems as he fell back and desperately tried to pull his red-hot helmet off. It was all to my last Quantum pistol. I caught his gun in my magic and aimed it at the transcendent Earth pony, frantically trying to pin down a teleporting Vertigo. It was clear from my companion's panting and sizzling horror that jumping from place to place was really taking it out of him. So I once again took it upon myself to save his flank. I opened fire on the attacking pony's head, and it became pretty clear that while that armor was a cut above the usual wastelanders, it was far from bulletproof. I shot again and again, and the blackmail yielded, and Earth Pony fell to the floor with a hole in his head. Vertigo finally appeared before me with a flash, gasping for breath through his helmet's vent. Good shot, he panted, and I grinned behind my visor. I shouldn't leave all the saving to you now, should I? I responded, all the while trying to assure myself that I wasn't also smiling because he was also stupidly attractive. Vertigo almost seemed to breathe in that admiration, as if it were a refreshingly cool breeze. Then he darted to the door Chief had attacked us from. Beyond it was a short corridor flanked by two more doors, and just ahead was the open entrance of an elevator.
Get back here. I'm going to beat the goss's shit out of both of you damn heels when I get you.
Chief yelled from across the fire as the pair of us got in the elevator and Vertigo pressed the button to ascend with his magic. You're a bastard, multiple generations of inbreeding, Stumpy. Vertigo mocked before the elevator doors closed on us. Doors closed on the screaming mare as the dull hum of Mark and its Paris prize began to play. Now a small breath of relief, despite the fact I knew this was most likely far from over. So I had to get back to Jerry, then escape this Goss's awful place. Then I had to find some way to get a staple 50. Find Star, make sure I didn't die, and I routed my aching gut as I growled. It was all so much just because of this stupid job. Here, for your wounds. Got no medics left though, sorry. Vertigo offered, levitating over a healing potion as he removed his damaged shoulder and took another step with a strange green liquid. Stupid power hoof. How did I miss that? He grumbled, then strapped the helmet to his side. Just be glad she didn't have to turn them on. She wasn't trying to kill you. At least before you really pissed her off, I responded. But once my attention was drawn to the small vial as he took a small sip. Even as I downed my healing potion, I slowly began feeling at least some relief all over my body as I managed to slowly sit to work on my injuries. Extra strength. Wow, he really didn't know his stuff. I thought the elevator ascended for about a minute more before stopping with a beep and opening to reveal another office room. Another secret elevator to the crazy basement. How predictable, I thought, stepping out. There was no better condition than any of those from the Oracle building across the plaza, the likes of which I could see through a shattered window to the right. Rain still poured inside and lightning flashed against the industrial skyline. Then Vertigo stepped down and pulled a grenade from his saddlebags. Perfect gift for our angry little friend down there. Should make sure she stays put for a while at least, he said as he magically sent the elevator back down. Though not before pulling the pen grenade and tossing his present inside. A moment later there was a distant rumble and the room shook as the explosive detonated. Now let's get out of here. Should be fine now unless they have fly. His words were cut off as something smashed in through the window, bounced from a desk with a metallic thud and rolled into the room. Both our horns ignited in union, a pair of us seizing the grenade and hastily tossing it back out the window. Damn featherbrains. They must have been watching the elevator, Vertigo called out. The two black armored griffins took firing positions outside the window. I glanced up, my filling visor struggling to make out the pairs as they hovered in the rain. Meanwhile, my EFS just and a whole load of red dots. Griffins were either talon mercs, or this was transcendent and offered services to more than just ponies. Neither option struck me as desirable as I raised the rifle I looted at and fired into one of the flying felines, dropping into a SATS. One shot struck his wing while the other hit his rear paw. The hybrid creature gave an eagle-like screech, clearly not prepared for my magically assisted accuracy. He also didn't seem ready for the sharp metal shard that sliced right through his throat as Vertigo joined me. The second Griffin merely looked on as her companion fell into the rain-swept street below. Then she sent 2 more bursts through the window. I ducked, a bullet striking the screen of the terminal atop the desk, bursting it with an electrical pop. Come on, we can find a way down to the construction yard this way, Vertigo told me as we crawled to the office door, blasting shocks back into the Griffin and forcing her to swerve. Yeah, but going down the way you talked about before is going to be a lot trickier with our new friends, I countered, calling what he'd said about the pipes. Still, it's better than no plan at all, and I began backing quickly towards the door, keeping my head low and blasting at the lone Griffin. After a minute of swerving, she dove down below the window and disappeared. Huh, she gave up. Typical. Vertigo snorted. There's going to be a lot more of them, you know, I corrected, and he laughed a little. Well, yeah, of course. Not to mention all the other ponies that are probably looking for us. Some pony in the Transcendent would have known the moment you plugged that program into an Oracle terminal. He elaborated. I had to fight the temptation in order to hit him. Yeah, because that's going to make getting thirsty slaves out of this damn place so much simpler. I snapped, frowning. Goddesses, had he known about that when deceiving me to use my pit buck? Had he intended us to run with the whole of Crimson Springs in our tail? Don't worry, I'm working on that, he assured, trying on.